Greetings, everybody. This is Harmer speaking. If you've never heard the word gangstalker or gangstalking, and if you don't know what it is, all I can say is thank God you don't, because you do not want to ever experience gangstalking. It's a horrible experience. So I'm going to give you my insight on it because I have been gang stalked to death to the nth degree. I've seen gang stalking videos on YouTube, and as bad it is, I'm like I've experienced something worse than that. So, for example, I saw this one video. This guy, I felt so bad for him. And I'm going to give you. I do have tips. I do know how to beat the gang stalkers. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to hear how to beat the gang stalkers and get them out of your life. So that is coming up. But in the meantime, this guy's just so scared and horrified, and he's telling a story about it. He's like, look, I'm going to go out and we'll get my car, and this is going to happen. We're going to get to this intersection. He said the name of the street, and there's going to be a car coming in here. It's going to be a white car, and it's going to turn here, and then this car is going to do this, and then this person's going to do that. And he's literally describing everything that's about to happen when he's going to get in his car in a moment and film the video, because his life is just like he's so gang stalked that it's like a rerun, like a movie rerun. They just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So he's got like down to the freaking minute of second of what's going to happen. And then he gets in his car after explaining everything that's about to happen, gets his car, drives down the street. Everything he said is going to happen, and it happened to the T. Okay. So, gang stalking in general is not personal. It's like a football team. I'm sorry if you've never played American football, but you have there's a defense and there's different defenses. For example, you can play a zone where if anybody comes in your zone, you cover that guy, make sure he doesn't catch. Oh, I'm talking about the backfield. Well, actually, line does it too. Sorry, I was a safety, so I'm used to being a safety. But anyway, we were either told play zone, so like you go into this when they hike the ball. If you see this happen, you run forward. If this happens, you run backward. You hang out in this area and wait for anybody to come in. And you make sure they don't catch the ball. That's a zone. And then there's man to man, where you are assigned a man and you actually cover that person wherever they go. So there's different kind of defenses. Same thing works in gang stalking. Most of the time, they're playing zone defense is the word I'll use. Where they have a zone, and anyone who comes into their zone, this is what they do to anybody. So it's nothing personal. And I would just say that's not that there's a better kind of gang stalking, but that is the best gang stalking because it's not personal. And then there's gang stalking where it is personal. Unfortunately, as you said, I've experienced a lot of bizarre things in my life. I don't know how to tell this one without sounding too creepy, but let me just tell it this way. I know some folks that they weren't friends of mine. It's like through an acquaintance situation kind of thing. Kind of like you're at a party and you stayed too long. You shouldn't have spent the night. And these I woke up and these people are all dressed in black. They got all the black stuff on their faces. They got ski masks, even though it's middle of summertime, gloves. I mean, they're like covering up all their body parts, so you can't. They just blend in. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, you caught us. We'll just tell you. We're going to go down to this old lady's house and we're going to climb on her roof and make noises and freak her out, and then we'll be back. And I'm like, what the fuck? And these, it's not like I can. I would have loved to call the police on them, but it's not like that kind of situation because, it just wouldn't turn out well for me. But anyway, and later I found, I ran into these guys again, and I was like, what the hell what was going on that night? And they're like, oh, well, we just want to freak out this old lady and make her scared. And apparently they go on the roof and make noises, and they have fishing lines with things at the end, not fishing hooks, but, objects. And they'll be on the roof and make noises, and they'll hit the windows, and they're just freaking this old lady out. I felt horrific hearing the story because I'm like, I think I've experienced that myself. And basically, back to this. You heard my other video. I've heard from a couple folks. They use the expression, "If we help them, they help us," meaning there's humans who help what I think are aliens out. But anyway, and back to the old thing is, there's a species that uses us for food. And in order, it's, oh yeah, here's a good way of telling it: licking toads. If you ever heard of licking toads, apparently you can take this certain species of toad, and you flick in between the eyes on the head, and you piss it off, and it gets really angry. And when it gets angry, it secretes, like it starts sweating, and then people, I don't know how they figured this out. Like whoever said, "Hey, let's piss off a toad and go lick it." It's like, who the hell was that guy? He's probably the same guy who his famous last words before he died was, "Here, hold my beer and watch me do this." It was probably that kind of guy. But anyway, you piss off the toad, you lick it, and there's actually a chemical in there that makes you hallucinate, and you flip and hallucinate. So the same concept. There's human beings that go around, grab frogs, and they probably do it as of today. Probably did it last night. Grab a frog, flick it, piss it off. The sweat comes off. They lick it, and then they hallucinate. They're trying to get a drug out of the frog. Well, we're the same way for a certain alien species. One in particular I know of, and they feed on anger and fear and all this stuff. But they can't run around because they're flipping aliens, and everybody would be like, "Holy shit, crap! There's an alien running around." It's kind of hard for them to do it, so they enlist human beings because human beings blend in, and have human beings go around and what I've they told me they call it games. They just play games to cause fear and for people to be afraid. Gangstalking, same way. They're trying to cause fear because then this species feeds on the fear. So whether it's a zone defense or man-on-man defense, gangstalking, either way, here's a tip. This is how to beat it, and it just sounds too simple to be true, and it's extremely difficult for a lot of people to do, but you can do it. The simple answer is ignore it. Simply ignore it. So like the guy, when he's going to go out and go to the store and he's going to see all the stuff happen, instead of reacting to it, instead of being perplexed, have fear, this, that, whatever, you're creating an emotion that they can feed on, and you don't want to create food for them. And the way you don't create the food is you have no reaction. Duh! No reaction, no fear, no food, and after a while they get bored, and kind of like how people go fishing, a fishing spot will be really hot, and then they don't catch fish after a while, and then they'll go somewhere else, and then they'll just leave you alone. Is how it works. But for some folks, it's just really hard to go, but I know he's doing this to me. I know this is happening and this and that, and they get caught up in all the emotions and the rights and the wrongs and the justices in life, and how dare they, how dare they do this to me? That's what they want. That they're trying to get a reaction out of you. So if you're being gangstalked, just ignore it. Just ignore it, and it takes a while. It takes a while, but like a month, maybe two, but they eventually go away. And working on ignoring them for whatever 3 months, they eventually go away. And guess what? They come back. Just like when people fish and the fishing spot's hot, they leave. Well, then that spot dries up. So what do? They go back and they're like, "Hey, let's see if we can catch some more fish here. It was hot. It was hot there 3 months ago." So yeah, they're gonna come back, or they might. I'm not gonna say going in, but they could. If they come back, ignore them again, and you just keep ignoring them. And that way, you don't bite on their hook. They're just fishing. They're trying to bite. They're trying to get you to bite. Just don't bite. Ignore them. Completely ignore them. And that's how you win that game. In other words, like tic-tac-toe, the only way to win is not to play the game. Tic-tac-toe is probably an extremely valuable lesson, especially in this case. The only winning move is not to play the game. If you don't play the game, then you don't get messed up. And the game, by the way, is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart, and it's not a game you want to play, in my opinion. But anyway, hope you all are doing well out there. God bless, peace, and be well.